Welcome everybody into another episode of Into the Stratusphere. I'm your girl Cindy G here, and man, you guys, what a weekend. Last Saturday, we finally got the results of who is going to be the next leader of this country. I'm not going to get into too much political thoughts or anything about politics. I already did express it on my Instagram stories and on Twitter. It was a lot of emotion, a very positive emotion that we finally got change. That's all that matters to me. I want some change. And we finally got it. And it's very big and it's very historic, you guys. So, yeah, I can finally breathe again. I can finally have a good night's sleep. This is going to be a very interesting 4 years, even though it's going to be a lot of work they got to do, but at the end of the day, it is going to be for the best. So that's all I can say. So anyway, you guys, hope you guys have a very wonderful weekend, even though your girl still has to go to work, but at night now, because I just transferred to a new job, a new schedule, so your girl is only working 12 a.m. to sometime 8 to 8:30 a.m. That's great. Graveyard shift, y'all. But anyway, you guys, so this is episode 15. Game on. And it is going to be a lot to talk about. Mostly there's going to be a lot of talk of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact Wrestling, y'all. So, on today's episode, I'm recording this on Friday, November 13th. Yeah. I hope there's no bad luck on my end after recording this podcast, but hey, at least we passed Friday the 13th. That's all I can say. Anyway, so we're going to be doing the typical news headlines. Also, New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'll be recapping last week's New Japan Strong for the Showdown Tour. Also, the matches from the Friday, November 10th, just as a preview. I'll be mentioning the Friday, November 10th show on the next episode Into the Stratusphere. That way that it'll be plenty of time just to read the results, and that's it. Also, the Power Struggle, New Japan Pro Wrestling Power Struggle Tour finale, just the results and my brief thoughts on it. Also, the World Tag League participant and my picks, as well as my picks for the Best of Super Junior 27. Bracketology prediction for the Super J Cup for New Japan. Plus your typical recap for Impact Wrestling and my brief prediction for Impact Wrestling's Turning Point, which is going to be taking place, of course, Saturday, November 14th. Only on Impact Plus. So, aka another glorifying house shows, even though there's no audience. But hey, it's all good, y'all. Okay, you guys, so let's go ahead and kick it off with some news headlines. So, as I stated, if you guys saw on the Instagram story, I am definitely going to be talking about my thoughts of the announcement from AEW. So, that's right. AEW Games, y'all, made a really impressive announcement. So, first things first. They have to start the AEW Games announcement 45 minutes late because they were trying to put the final twink to it. Also, Kenny said that he's so nervous that let's give another couple minutes. I know a lot of people were pretty much impatient on social media, what's going on, and not only that, it's on the same day as AEW Dark. So I'm glad AEW did push AEW Dark to the 4:30 time slot and have the press conference, they start right away. So it did start around 3:45 p.m. Pacific time. And of course, you have is Kenny Omega, Aubrey Edwards, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and of course, Mr. Cody Rhodes, all of them dressed up like Steve Jobs, which it was pretty hilarious, but yeah. So first things first, Kenny Omega did announce that there is going to be 3 games confirmed. And one of them is going to be a console game. Now, AEW did partner with Yux Entertainment. And so they did show the gameplay, but this is not the final the final, like, prototype, you could say this, because they're still in development. I'm glad they did put a disclaimer, but all I can say is that it was a pretty dope, like, gameplay they did. Especially, I'm really excited. It's kind of like an actual legit video, like legit wrestling video games, especially a lot of feature. And hey, intergender wrestling mode. You saw the part about Hikaru Shida did beat Kenny Omega, which I'm super excited for that. So, and not only that, the director for the AEW games that they're working on, of course, is none other than Heiyuki Iwashita. Forgive me if I botch his name for it. Just bear with me with that. He actually directed the WWF No Mercy video game for the Nintendo 64 years ago, and now he is actually going to be in charge of directing for this AEW game. So this is going to be a very exciting news. A lot of people are like so stoked about it, even though there's some, like, when I saw the comments like from other wrestling news and dirt sheets, and also IGN did posted the gameplay of the, you could say, the rough draft prototype gameplay, and you know, there has been some mixed comments for it too. So I must say this, like, hey, they're still working on it. Just please be patient on it. I know that some of you guys were having high hopes of it, but they're still in development too. And the best part is, I'm glad they said that it's going to be available for the current and the next generation console, which is like a breath of fresh air, because y'all know the PlayStation 5 has already been released, and you know, half of us, well, pretty much almost half of us, are not planning to get the PlayStation 5 until next year or two, because, hey, we're still in the pandemic. We just purchased like a couple of the games, or hell, if you guys purchased like a PlayStation 4, an Xbox, or a Nintendo Switch, or a Nintendo Switch Lite, or any other console prior to the PlayStation 5 or the latest Xbox console, I think it would be best just to continue on until, like, wait for it. Plus, like, so I'm glad they did mention just the current and the next gen video game console for this particular game. So I'm excited for this. And not only did they announce the console game, Aubrey Edwards did announce that there's going to be 2 mobile games. That's right. The AEW Elite General Manager and the AEW Casino Double or Nothing. Well, actually, Cody did announce the casino part too. And so the mobile game is going to be released sometime in 2021. And regarding with the console game, it's just going to be they're going to keep updating, but it's pretty much going to be debuting next year. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. When it comes to mobile game, it's kind of like a hit or miss for me. I mean, the graphics of the mobile game looks really nice actually, but like, hey, because I love to film my vlogs, which I hella miss vlogging though. I mean, we're still in a pandemic. Wrestling show's not running. But I mostly take a lot of pictures and I have to like edit everything for my Instagram. It just took a lot of like storage for my phone. So like having like a mobile game, I'm going to have to pass on that. Unless it is doable for like an app for like an iPad, that would be much better. But I'm just saying, y'all. But yeah, so I'm pretty much excited. I cannot wait till the final product of the gameplay will be released like next year. Because like, hey, I want a really good video game instead of that crapola, like the WWE 2K20. I digress on that. But I have high hopes for AEW. They know what they're going to be doing for this particular plan to produce a really amazing like video game, especially have, of course, the director who directed the WWF No Mercy video game. So this is very big, you guys. Anyway, you guys, so let's go ahead and move on to the next news headline. So we got a new champion. Your new NWA Tag Team Champion is none other than Aaron Stevens and, of course, North Cal's own JR Kratos. That's right. They defeated James Storm and Eli Drake on this past episode of Primetime Live. Now, I did not watch the show, even though, like, there has been a lot of changes going on. Like, I heard, like, there has been some conflicts going on, but I don't know what's the full detail is. But I know that this match. It was supposed to be Aaron Stevens and Question Mark, but I don't know what happened to Question Mark though. But we'll see what's going on. Or is it JR Kratos? Question Mark. Digress on it. But yeah, could have been more happier than ever. And I honestly feel like it's kind of like the right move because, as you know, James Storm is having his match coming up at Impact Wrestling's Turning Point, which I'm going to be getting to that while I'm talking about the recap of Impact Wrestling. So I just feel that it's time that James and E, like Drake, will be dropping the title and then going further, like, for their careers too. So congratulations, Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos. And now lastly for the news, which I'm definitely going to be tying into, of course, the next particular segment, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. So one half of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, has to be pulled out of the Best of Super Junior 27 due to a knee injury that he sustained during the Power Struggle Tour finale, you guys. So yeah, he actually kind of like injured his knee. It doesn't say to extent like how long he's gonna be out for quite some time, but yeah. Actually, no, it's not for the Summer Struggle Tour finale, but like the before the Summer Struggle Tour finale. Sorry, I got my notes mixed up, but yeah. So he's sustaining a knee injury, and so for the replacement for the Best of Super Junior 27 is none other than representing the New Japan Pro Wrestling Young Lions, Yuya Uemura. That's right, he's definitely going to be competing during the tour too. And I must say is I'm very excited for the replacement. In my opinion, I wish it would have been Gabriel Kidd instead of Uemura, but I can understand the reason why, because with Uemura, he did impress everybody during the Young Lions showcase match during the G1 Climax 30 tour, where it's just mostly of the opening match is the Young Lions, and so he did actually outshine 3, despite the fact that he was placing 3rd for the unofficial C block, but hey, he definitely deserved this opportunity. And also, like with the Young Lions, like whether it's from the New Japan or the LA Dojo, they had like an impressive opportunity ever since they came back in June because of like COVID situation. And so like the majority of the New Japan Young Lions did compete on the New Japan Cup, and then the LA Dojo boys did compete for the New Japan Cup USA. You have Carl Frederick graduated from the LA Dojo. You have like Great Khan and Master Wato making the return after their excursion. Clark Connors winning the Lions Break crown, and he's participating in the Super J Cup. So a lot of good opportunities for these up and coming stars and / the students of the Young Lions. So I'm very excited. And so Uemura definitely will set an example for everyone to like the reason why he is the upcoming star too. So I'm definitely going to be talking a little bit about it when I'm going to be going into like the Best of Super Junior 27. So yeah, which is kind of like the who's going to be my final 2 pick and stuff like that. So here's a preview. But yeah, anyway, so let's go ahead and go with the results right here. So no more wrestling news headline. Let's go ahead and move to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So starting off with last week's New Japan Strong, which took place on November 6, 2020. Continue on with the Showdown Tour. So the results, so you have is Fred Roster defeated Jordan Clearwater, where Roster did use the gut check finisher to pick up the victory. And that match was kind of like a mixture of like technical and heavy brawler action. So it is a slow start, but hey, it started to pick things up, especially showing a different aggressive side from Fred Roster. So this match was pretty cool. And then you have is Chase Owens defeated Danny Limelight, where Chase Owens used the V-trigger and then a package pile driver to pick up the victory. And it was a pretty solid match, to say at least. And I know I did give a huge compliment about Danny Limelight's in-ring performance. He actually came a long way. And fun fact, because I'm going to put a side note, so as you guys know, I did actually make the appearance on Danny Limelight's Instagram live show called Into the Limelight this past Monday, of course. He actually invited me, and I was like, holy crap, because I just woke up from my sleep after a 8-hour graveyard shift, and yeah, and he asked me like question like what I got into wrestling and how did I heard about him and all that stuff. So yeah, so pretty much with Danny Limelight, he's been wrestling in 5 years, and definitely how his story about it was pretty impressive. But yeah, he actually did an impressive showcasing match, even though he lost to Chase Owens. But hey, it's all good, and hopefully one day we'll get him on the Bulletcast interview, which I did told Philip, so I'm kind of like vouching for him, so that way Philip can conduct an interview. Hey Philip, check out this match if you're listening / watching this. I highly guarantee it. And also his match at primetime too, so just saying. Anyway, moving on here, and then for your main event match you have is a tag team match between Rocky Romero and Jeff Cobb versus Russ Taylor and making his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut, JR Kratos. That is right, you got the main event match, was pretty impressive, especially reminiscing the old face-off between Kratos and Jeff Cobb. But I must say about Russ Taylor, especially with his background in martial arts a little bit, he did a really awesome job. But anyway, at the end, Kratos did pin Rocky Romero with the Yoshinobu driver, followed by the Game Changer to pick up the victory, which it was kind of a shocker too. Like, I didn't expect JR Kratos to pick up the victory for him and Russ Taylor. Like, it was so unexpected, but hey, he did a really impressive job. And I wanted to say this also. So after this match, you know, the whole like press conference interview after the match. So Jeff Cobb actually did give a shout out, of course. You know, he said, I fought Kratos at the garage, and now I'm gonna have to face him next week. So yeah, he did give a shout out to the APW's old venue, the garage, of course. Yeah, talking about APW, it's actually warms my heart. I hope for tonight, for the referee, I hope Sparky Balor better ref this match, because I know, and here's a preview for the upcoming match for, of course, for Friday, November 10th, Jeff Cobb versus JR Kratos. They will be facing off 1-on-1. And I hope Sparky Balor better be there, even though we haven't seen Sparky in a couple weeks. I wonder what happened. But he better ref it, and that's gonna bring like a memory of, you know, their match at APW. But yeah. Anyway, so thumbs up, thumbs out of this show. I'm actually gonna be giving it, well, a 1.5 thumbs up. The matches were pretty good, even though the opening match was kind of like a bit slow, but started to pick things up. Overall, it was pretty awesome. That's the only thing I can say this. So for the Friday, November 10th, upcoming matches, like I said, Jeff Cobb versus JR Kratos, of course. Yeah, pretty much. And then you have is PJ Black versus Tama Tonga. And then Fred Rosser versus Filthy Tom Lawler. And then you have a 6-man tag team match, of course. So you have his Bullet Club, which is Jay White, Chase Owens, and Tonga Loa versus Brody King, Carl Frederick, and the returning Juice Robinson. And I wanted to add this on a side note. It's already been taped, because as you guys know, and I didn't mention it on the Wrestling News headline, so a couple days ago, Filthy Tom Lawler did announce that he tested positive for COVID-19, so he had to be pulled out of the independent wrestling show that he was being booked the day before. So just wanted to let y'all know this one has been taped, I believe, like 2 months ago or something, because I could tell Kenta's quarantine hair, but digress on it. And I hope, Tom Lawler, hope you feeling better, wishing you nothing but luck and prayers and all that stuff. But you know, hey, we're still in the chaotic world, and hopefully, like, he does look better, especially with the video promo he sent out. I think it's like prior to or during it, I don't know. But we'll see. Anyway, guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the New Japan Pro Wrestling Power Struggle Tour finale, which took place on Saturday, November 7th, you guys. And I'm going to say this is a pretty awesome show. So many surprises. And I'm going to take a quick sip on it because there's going to be a lot to talk about while I read the results. So I'm going to read the results and get my overall thoughts on it too. Yep. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, I am drinking this sparkling water. I don't know. It's AHA. That's what the bottle said though. And you could get it available at Target and maybe at Safeway if they have it, or any other grocery store they actually carry. But yeah, it's a orange and grapefruit flavor. But yeah, digress on the drink because you know me with my beverage drinking gimmick. For those of you who follow me on social media for quite a while, yeah. Anyway, y'all. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the Power Struggle Tour finale. So the opening match you have is it's the 2020 King of Pro Wrestling Provisional Trophy, which you have is the current champ Toru Yano taking on Zack Sabre Jr. in a no corner pads match. Which honestly, I thought it will be like a no turnbuckles match, but no, it's those corner paddings though, and that match was pretty comical. It was kind of like an entertaining moment, but a little bit of a seriousness going on, especially like we saw a different size of Yano too while facing on with Zack Sabre Jr. But hey, we thought that Zack Sabre Jr. is gonna win, but nope, because you know why? Because Zack Sabre Jr. was about to apply the second heel hook to Yano outside the ring, but nope, wrong move, bud, because Yano did tie Zack Sabre Jr.'s shoelace together alongside the barricade, and that's when Yano made it into the ring, and unfortunately, of course, this match ends in a countout. Therefore, Toru Yano did retain the trophy, you guys. So, pretty fun, entertaining match, I must say so, and I know that Taiji is going to be giving a lot of crap to Zack Sabre Jr. of why he lost to Yano, of course. Anyway, next up you have is the Never Openweight Championship match. You have is the current champ Minoru Suzuki versus representing LIJ Shingo Takagi. And yep, these guys actually did kill each other, and that was a pretty brutal match as usual too. Like a lot of like back and forth action. You have, of course, like chops exchanging a lot, and then of course you have is a short arm reversal by Minoru Suzuki, and then a front face lock. Takagi with the snap vertical suplex, and it's a lot of this whole animosity for that. And so Shingo Takagi did actually counter the gotch style power driver from Minoru, and then of course he did exchange headbutts, so is Minoru. So it's like pretty much brutally killing each other for that too. And of course, y'all, oh my god, Shingo Takagi did clothesline in the back of Suzuki's neck, and then 2 lariats, followed by a Last of the Dragon. And so Shingo Takagi is your new Never Openweight Champion. And even though this match was so brutal as hell, but I think that this is like a closing chapter of their rivalry too. So I'm glad Shingo Takagi actually won his title again. And you know, I'm looking forward to who's he's gonna be facing off next. But yeah. Anyway, so next up you have is Kazuchika Okada versus the Great O-Khan in his solo in-ring debut match. And I must say, with Great O-Khan, he actually impressed the hell out of me too, especially like he did train a little bit of Muay Thai fighting because of course those knee strikes and that brutal chop. And the way that he's been like trained to, like starting with the Young Lions, and then he actually went on excursion to the UK. He actually impressed the hell out of me for that, despite the fact that you have, of course, Will Ospreay. And why the hell he dressed up as kind of like, he kind of reminds me of the British Mafia. I forget, the Craze Brothers. Yes, dressing up like the Craze Brothers. So if you guys saw the movie called The Brothers Cray or something. I forget the name of the movie. It's featuring Tom Hardy. He has a dual role. He plays the Cray's twins. They're a notable British mafia. So I highly suggest it. So that's what I got the vibe of it too, even though, like, screw Will Ospreay. I'm just saying that. But anyway. So yeah, that match was pretty impressive. But we all know that Okada is going to be winning the match, of course, obviously, because Okada did apply the money clip until Great Khan passed out, and therefore Kazuchika Okada did win the match. And then afterwards, there has been a promo exchange from Okada and Ospreay. And of course, Ospreay called a challenge against Okada, Wrestle Kingdom 15. Okada accepted. So we have is a match that's been confirmed for Wrestle Kingdom 15. Okada versus Ospreay. And hopefully Okada will beat the holy hell out of him. Yep, there you go. My early pick, Okada. Just saying. And then afterwards, after the intermission, you have is the IWGP United States Right to Challenge contract, which you have the current champ Kenta versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. That match was pretty awesome. Like, a lot of, like, exchanges back and forth. Like, Tanahashi with the slingshot Prosecco, and then Kenta did continue to, like, play some mind games, like going, exiting the ring back and forth. And, of course, he did use that red briefcase to beat the holy hell out of him without, like, the referee just looking over. And, of course, like, it's a lot of, like, animosity together. And so Kenta did apply the game over, of course, with a 2 count, and then Tanahashi did try to reach over the rope. Of course, that's like I said, 2 counts when he did. But yeah. Anyway, so at the end, Tanahashi did apply the Texas Cloverleaf until Kenta actually tapped out. No, actually, Tanahashi did apply the Texas Cloverleaf. Kenta makes Tanahashi verbally tap out to the game over. So it's kind of like a lot of like combination together. So with that being said, like with the combination of this, because I'm like looking over my notes because there's like a lot of confusion going on. So pretty much, yes. So a lot of combo, and then at the end, Tanahashi did tap and Kenta did retain the contract. So there you have it, folks. Yeah, we're going to be getting Kenta versus Jon Moxley for the IWGP United States title. If it's going to happen still. Because, like, Moxley needs to fulfill his New Japan obligation. But first, he had to figure out what he's going to do with AEW. Especially he has an upcoming match. December 2nd against Kenny Omega. And that's going to be a perfect time for Moxley to drop the title to Kenny. So he can go to Japan, be in quarantine, and then challenge Kenta for the title. Yeah. So we'll see what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be coming in a long run. Hell, maybe New Japan Strong, you guys. I mean, I know that, like, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing Moxley on New Japan Strong. I mean, I know I'm kind of, like, going off topic here. I think that'll be it, like, after the December 2nd show. And I know they did the taping already for New Japan Strong in advance. Maybe we'll be seeing Moxley, and then we'll have like a face-to-face between him and Kenta. Who knows? But we're going to have to see. But yeah, so yeah. Kenta defeated Tanahashi via submission. So yeah. Anyway, you have is the Wrestle Kingdom 15 briefcase. That's right. Kota Ibushi, the contract holder, versus representing Bullet Club, the Switchblade, Jay White with Gato. And yeah, that match was pretty interesting, I must say so. A lot of like offensive move from Jay White, and of course him still gloating, especially that whole abs situation. Like, I don't get it, y'all. This is not the Corso, like, seriously. But yeah, but overall it was like such a too close to call. Like, wow. I mean, you have his Ibushi with the sleeper suplex, and then of course he did counter the 4-hour shiver from Jay White, and of course Jay White did counter Kota Ibushi Bomaye, And of course, Ibushi with the Snapdragon suplex for the 2 count. And of course, like, there's a lot of, like, counter going on, like, countering their finishing moveset, like the Ibushi's Kamagoye to Jay White's Blade Runner. But hey, and then you have, of course, Gedo interfering until, like, Ibushi did knock him off the apron. And of course, like, Jay White did try to go for the Blade Runner, but Ibushi did block it. And then, of course, Ibushi did V-trigger, and then followed by the Kamagoye, but nope, Jay White did counter with the backslide roll up, and of course, Jay White defeated Ibushi, and he's your new contract holder. Yeah, you guys, this is history in the making. First time ever someone lost their contract that they earned from the G1 Climax 30. Yeah, so Jay White's officially the contract holder. And yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting, y'all. Holy crap. Let's go ahead and go with the main event match, because there is a lot of interesting moments. So the main event match you have is for both the IWGP Intercontinental and the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match, which he has the current champ Tetsuya Naito versus Evil with Dick Togo. Yeah, both guys wasted no time, and they starting to beat the holy hell out of each other. Like, a lot of, like, back and forth going on, and, like, a lot of, like, finisher being counter, or, like, being on, like, for a 2 count, like Naito did counter Evil starting his fall, and then, of course, Naito did the satellite DDT for the 2 counts, and Evil with the pendulum backbreaker for the 2 counts, and it's a lot of, like, going back and forth going on. And of course, you have is typical Dick Togo providing the distraction. Of course, when Dick Togo did wrap the choker around Naito's neck, while, of course, Red Shoe Umo was being pulled out of the ring, of course, thanks to Dick Togo. That's where he could get the opportunity. And then you have Nujio did actually came by too, and then that's when he did attack Naito with his stick. And of course, while Naito's being tortured, of course, out comes Sanada making the save, like doing the drop kick to Dick Togo, and then of course Irish Rip to Yujiro. So it's a lot of, like, distraction going on. Of course, there's, like, a lot of distraction too between Evil and Jay, while Red Shoe is still down. And look and who out comes. Jay White. Jay White did slightly attack a bit from Naito, and of course he did kind of like giving Evil a pep talk, kind of like a instigating pep talk, so that we can play the mind games to Evil. And lo and behold, Kota Ibushi came by and made the save, trying to chase off Jay White, which is pretty interesting, I must say so. And then at the end, of course, Naito with the open palm strike to Evil, followed by the Valentina, and then he did the Destino to retain the IWGP Intercontinental and the Heavyweight Champion. That's right. Tetsuya Naito did defeat Evil. And so I'm excited to see what's going to be happening next with, like, everything that's going to come to play for Wrestle Kingdom 15. I know for a fact that they already have some matches set up, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm going to be talking about the matches, like, when I'm doing the predictions for Wrestle Kingdom 15. I know it's going to be, like, within a month. So, yeah, y'all, I'm excited. So, overall, what grade? Not grade. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, you know what? Screw it. I'll give it a grade right now. So, Power Struggle finale. I really enjoyed most of the matches. The match of the night, of course, would have to be the main event match, and also Jay White versus Ibushi. It was a shocking moment. With that being said, the opening match was kind of like questionable, but it's pretty entertaining. Minoru Suzuki versus Shingo Takagi match, I really enjoyed it a lot. Honestly, their match at the Power Struggle, the Summer Struggle Tour finale at Jingle Stadium was a little bit better than their match they had. But that's just me. Okada versus Great O'Khan, I enjoyed it, minus the whole Will Ospreay, whatever. And, and also Kenta versus Tanahashi, that was a really impressive match too. So for grade, I'm going to give it a B+, and then for my thumbs up, thumbs down, I'm giving it a 1.5 thumbs up. So, yeah, trying to do like 1 thumbs up and then the Orange Cassidy thumbs up as a half, but digress on that. Anyway, you guys, so let's go ahead and move on real quick for participant for the World Tag League. I know they just announced it a couple days after the press conference, and they did announce it on via Twitter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read off the participant, and I'm going to give you guys my who is going to be the final 2 and my overall winner, because they're going to be going it based on point system, round robin style, just like with the G1 Climax, and also the IWGP Junior Tag Team Tournament as well. So let me go ahead and take a sip on this. This is some damn good sparkling water, y'all. So anyway, New Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag League Tournament 2020. So here it is, you guys, your participant. And there are some that's already making their return. Alright, so for representing the New Japan Pro Wrestling, you have as the team of Hiroshi Tanahashi, and making his return, Toa Henare, also known as Henare Ace. That's right, he's making his return since the whole pandemic hit. So it's going to be great seeing Henare making his return to Japan. David Finlay and Juice Robinson. That's right, Finn Juice is now back in Japan, y'all. And then you have is representing Chaos. You have the team of Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. And then you have the team of Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii. Now we're going to go for Bullet Club. So representing for each of the team, you have is Evil partnering up with Yujiro Takahashi. Chase Owens, he is partnering up with the returning, the underboss, Bad Luck Fale. And y'all, making their return overseas to Japan, Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. I'm so excited for this. Bullet Club, they're now reunited once again. I'm so excited. Thank you, New Zealand, for easing up the travel restriction. Digress on it. Alright, representing LIJ, Shingo Takagi and Sonata. Representing Empire, Great O'Khan, and a mystery opponent, which I'm going to get into that, who's going to be the mystery opponent. And lastly, representing Suzuki-gun, your current IWGP Tag Team Champion, Dangerous Tekker, consists of Taiji and Zack Sabre Jr. So yes, you guys, these are the participants. Now, I'm going to go with my prediction of who's going to be Great O'Khan's tag team partner. So there has been a lot of like who's going to be part of Empire, because I know Ospreay will say that he's growing a stable. Honestly, y'all, I feel there's going to be someone within New Japan Pro Wrestling that is within the unit, also who is currently in Japan. I don't know, there's a lot of questionable doubt. I was hoping for someone who's returning from the excursion, but I doubt it. But hey, there's one person in mind. Jeff Cobb. I can see Jeff Cobb partnering up with Great O'Khan and possibly part of the Empire stable. I mean, that'll be interesting. I know he's kind of like in a tweener role, like in New Japan Strong, like one point he's a heel and now he's a babyface. It's so much to digest. But hey, I don't mind seeing Jeff Cobb being in a tournament, like partnering up with Great O'Khan. I mean, that's going to be pretty awesome. Now, for who I think will be on the final 2 and my overall pick. Final 2, I would like to see Shingo Takagi and Sonata versus Finn Juice. That's going to be a pretty awesome match, even though Finn Juice won last year's World Tag League. But you know what? I'm going to go change it up. I'm going to go with LIJ to win the 2020 World Tag League. That way that Sonata can finally get the talent opportunity, even though it's just a tag team. But hey, it'll be interesting to see how he is going to be teaming up with Tagage and working together as one. So I'm excited for that altogether. Anyway, you guys, so let's go and move on to the Best of Super Junior 27. So as you guys, I already stated on the Wrestling News headline, Kanemaru has been pulled due to a knee injury that he sustained during the Power Struggle tour, like where him and El Desperado was defending their IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship match against, of course, representing LIJ, Bushi, and Hikaru Takahashi. That was a pretty fun and brutal match, by the way. But I digress on that. So Yuya Uemura is going to be taking over his place. So yeah, it is going to be a pretty fun tournament for that. So you have Uemura, you have the returning Robbie Eagles, you have Bushi, Hikaru Takahashi, Taiji Ishimori, who is the current IWGP Junior Tag Team Champion. You have Sho, you have Master Wato, you have El Desperado, you have his Doki, and Ryusuke Takeuchi. So, for my final two, who's going to be facing off, I would say I would like to see Sho versus Hikaru Takahashi. I mean, that'll be kind of like a fun / serious match. I mean, I know Hikaru won the Best of Super Junior last year, I believe. I gotta look up Wikipedia, but yeah, don't quote me on it. But you know what? I feel something will be different, and I feel that with him, what he's been going through a lot ever since his tag team partner sustained an injury, and he's out for like a year. You know what? My overall winner for the Best of Super Junior 27, I'm gonna go with Sho for this. So. Anyway, so that is it for like my picks for the World Tag League and the Best of Super Junior. Let's go ahead and move on to the bracketology for the Super J Cup. So it's going to be taking place right after the World Tag League / Best of Super Junior 27. That's right. So they already been announced the bracketology for the Super J Cup, and plus they has a additional match. Kind of like the first round match, like afterwards, you have a tag team match. That's right, a tag team match. So you have his Bullet Club, which is Kenta and Hikuleo versus the team of Carl Frederick, and making his return, who is now part of the LA Dojo excursion, Ren Narita, you guys. That is right. Ren Narita is making his return, even though he's on excursion in the LA Dojo. We may see him debut on the upcoming episode of New Japan Strong, but who knows? Especially with some of the participants too, but we'll see. Anyway, so here it is. So let's go ahead and go with the bracketology. So for first round one, so you have is Clark Connors versus Chris Bay. My pick, I'm going with Chris Bay, because I know he can definitely shine through in New Japan Pro Wrestling, especially he made his name to himself in the Indies and Impact Wrestling. So why not have him like compete and be on the, like in this quarterfinal round match, like a semifinal type, but yeah. And then you have his ACH versus TJP. I'm actually going to go with ACH because I feel like he actually did improve a lot, especially with the new attitude and new mindset since his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And plus, this is his first time at the Super J Cup, so why not have like a one hell of a match? And then you have his Ray Horace versus Blake Christian. This is a tough pick. And like, I'm trying to figure out like who has the longevity in the industry versus a rising star. Honestly, I'm going to go with Blake Christian to beat Ray Horace. And then lastly, you have his former WWE superstar Leo Rush versus the returning El Phantasmo. And that's going to be one hell of a match, especially there's going to be a lot of like impressive high-flying maneuver and so many trickery going on. But I'm going to go with El Phantasmo. Now for the semifinals, Chris Bay versus ACH. I'm actually going to go with ACH himself because I feel it's time for him to go rise to the top. And especially the fact that like he's been through a lot, I feel like he definitely can make it to the finals. And now you have his El Phantasmo versus Blake Christian. I'm going with El Phantasmo. I mean, I know he hasn't been wrestling since this whole pandemic happened and he was stuck in his home country of Canada. And plus, he was doing Twitch during the live reaction of like each of the New Japan Pro Wrestling shows. So I feel that for him, like making a comeback going into the finals, why not? So for the finals of the Super J Cup, ACH versus El Fantasmo, it is a hard pick to choose, but you know what? I feel this is going to be the right call. Have him win second year in a row. So my overall pick, I'm going with El Fantasmo to win this year's Super J Cup. You know, kind of like making a name for himself. And honestly, I don't know what's going to be happening afterwards since, like, you know, like you still have New Japan Strong going on, and then you have it's like, and then you get like the Best of Super Junior 27. Like, I wonder if they're gonna be doing something like, you know, for the winners. I know they'll win the trophy, but like an opportunity too, because you know we're still in the pandemic, of course. But it's gonna be pretty excited and fun to see all together. So I'm looking forward to this. But again, I'm going to be going over with that bracketology when it comes down closer to like the crazy busy week of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So yeah, so I'm going to remind you like this whole bracketology and all together. But anyway, you guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to from New Japan Pro Wrestling on to Impact Wrestling. So recap, Impact Wrestling, November 10th, 2020, which is on a Tuesday. So the opening match you have is a Knockouts tag team match between Tenille Dashwood with Kayla with a K and Madison Rayne versus the team of Havoc and Nevaeh. So Josh Matthews was doing commentary all by himself, which I couldn't care less about the commentary because I care more of is this match. So this match was kind of like almost a 5-minute match. Not too much to say. It was kind of like a very flat, slow pace of a match they have. But the only thing I'm happy about is that Madison Rayne came out to her old Killer Queen theme. Not that crappy remix. Sorry, I don't like the remix of the Killer Queen. I like the original one. It's the one with, you know, that is like the kind of like with the guitar riff playing and then the introduction saying she's a Killer Queen. Something like that. Sorry if I kind of like made your ear bleed, y'all. I don't like singing, nor I'm not a good singer. I digress. But it was great hearing her theme song. And then, of course, you have is Kayla with a K doing the usual intro to Tenille Dashwood. But yeah, so it was a pretty much, it was kind of like, it's kind of like they kind of don't sync in the communication together. It's like saying who's going to go first and stuff. But yeah, but then during the match, it was so funny. Like, you have Caleb, like, questioning Madison. He's like, is this your first day? And Madison, with her, like, WTF face to Caleb, she's like, I wear a lot of hats, Caleb. And then Caleb said, with a K. Yeah, oh yeah, Caleb with a K. So, yeah, it's not much. It was kind of like a little bit of a gimmicky action. I mean, you have Tenille trying to give Havoc, like, a breathing exercise, but Havoc's is not buying it, and so it's like she's starting to attack her. So not much, but then at the end you have Havoc with the tombstone and pick up the victory for her and Nevaeh too. So yeah, not much. It's pretty much your typical gimmicky match. And then afterwards you have is Caleb with a K and Tenille walk off while Madison Rayne is still laying down since she took a beating from Havoc. Yeah, not too much to say about this opening. It's kind of not my favorite, but yeah. Anyway, you have a backstage interview with Gia Miller with the Good Brothers. Carl did call Gia good sister. So they did talk about the upcoming match at Turning Point against the North for the Impact World title. And out comes the North, where, of course, typical Good Brothers did make fun of Ethan Page's alter ego, which is the Karate Man gimmick. And that's where, like, they were about to beat the holy hell out of each other outside, but they walk off. So, yeah, pretty much Ethan Page is kind of, like, really, really, like, having, like, a thin skin when it comes to his alter ego, the Karate Man, especially what Josh Matthews did mention about it. Like, say, oh, he gained popularity on social media, but what else you can say? And then you have as a promotion for the upcoming Talking Shop Mania 2. That's right, the worst pay-per-view ever, which is kind of like a comedy, gimmicky, not so wrestling. You could say a pay-per-view I call it a grand show. I did watch the first ever Talking Shop Mania because I was kind of like drinking 4 cans of White Claw, which, by the way, not the tall can, but the small can. You guys, just want to let y'all know. Yeah, it was fun. I'm probably not going to be watching this because, like, I need some liquor, but sucks I can't because I got to go to work that night. So, yeah, I'm going to have to skip on that. So, yeah, y'all. And then you have this whole Who Shot Johnny Bravo segment. Like, I'm going to cut to the chase. I know there's going to be a lot of jump cuts to it, too. Like, Tommy Dreamer did administer a lie detector test, not to Larry D, and then Cody Deaner, and then Father James Mitchell's. And then, well, prior to Father James Mitchell, but to Falaba, to Hernandez. And, of course, like, you have, let's see, yeah, Father James Mitchell, and then Havoc. That's it, yeah. Like I said, I'm not a fan of this whole Who Shot Johnny Bravo stuff, even though they still continue to say he is in medically induced coma for it, so kind of like seeing what's going on, but it's kind of like your interesting filler, but yeah. And then you have it's the X Division Championship match, which you have as the current champ, Rohit Raju versus TJP, which is TJP's final shot. If he loses, no more opportunity to get to compete for the X Division Championship match while Rohit Raju is a champ. So Madison Rayne is back on commentary, and I must say this match was pretty solid. I mean, not too much to say. It's just your typical X Division match, but a lot of like pretty impressive like moveset too. But then you have TJP with the surfboard for a 2 count, and then he was about to do the Mamba Splash, but Rohit Raju did counter with the crossface. And then TJP did counter with the knee bar as Rohit Raju did grab the title, which is still laying down by the apron. And while the referee's kind of like a bit distracting it, but while the ref was like kind of distracted picking up the belt, that's where Raju did low blow TJP, and then he did a knee strike, and therefore Rohit Raju did retain the X Division title. And so TJP has no more title opportunity, which I think this is a nice way for him to kind of like written off a bit, so that way TJP can be focused more is to get ready for the upcoming Super J Cup, especially he is facing ACH on round 1. So it is going to be pretty interesting to see how it's going to play it out with like this whole storyline angle too. But anyway, nice move, nice way to written TJP off for just a little bit, or we're going to be seeing him on the next episode Impact Wrestling. Who knows? And then you have as the backstage, like the whole aftermath of the lie detector, like Falaba and Hernandez passing by, and so you have Hernandez accusing Falaba about this whole Johnny Bravo stuff until out comes Flava and Fire, which is Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steele. That's their tag team name, Flava and Fire. They were both defending Falaba to Hernandez until Falaba did walk off, and so Kiera Hogan did kind of like taught him like this, you know, the slang of Gucci, which is funny. Gucci means good, or you're awesome and great. She explained to him what Gucci means, not just the name brand, but you know, the slang term. Tasha was in a stealth mode when she was grabbing the wad cash out of Falaba's pocket and replace it with kind of like a roll of tape. And so once there, they kind of like play it off being cool, say you're Gucci and stuff. So yeah, so pretty much Flava and Fire took the wad cash away from Falaba. And then afterwards you have, and this is going to be the very important one, which I'm going to be touching based on that like during one of the segments. So yeah, it's the Rascals reunited doing their Treehouse segment, kind of like the whole 70s shows gimmick. So they've been reunited first time since the whole aftermath of Slammiversary. So they did talk about like their showcasing match and Trey's success until I think it was Desmond and Xavier received a notice that they got 1 week left and they're evicted from the Treehouse. So yes, you guys, the news has been broke that the Rascals is going to be done with Impact Wrestling for good. And there has been a rumor, has been set, which I'm going to get into, like, what their farewell match is going to be, like, after going into a couple of this talking point in the match segment. So, yeah, you guys. So I'm gonna be touching base on it briefly, and I know I'm gonna be touching base on it like on the next week's episode into the Stratusphere. I think it's gonna be a little bit part of the news headline, but we'll see. Anyway, so you have is one half of Triple XL, AC Romero versus Chris Sabian in a singles match, and yeah, poor Chris Sabian. He has been being brutally hurt by AC Romero. He did get like a couple of shots for it. And so AC Romero was about to do the Santon, but Chris Sabian did counter. And then he did the missile drop kick to AC Romero like 4 times, like afterwards, trying to, but then hey, Chris Sabian did defeated AC Romero. It's a pretty good match overall, not much to say. But yeah, and afterwards, Larry D did attack Chris Sabian, and AC Romero did come to assist. And so that's where, of course, Triple XL did standing tall. And I'm going to say, like I said again, Triple XL, they did push a lot. I feel like I'm glad they're in like a right storyline. Because, like, them being with this whole, like, Russell House and Who Shot Bravo situation, even though it's just Larry D, they deserve more. So I think this is like the right path for them to like have like a kind of like a rivalry going on with a veteran of Impact Wrestling, the Motor Machine Gun. Hope they continue on with this whole feud, but I'm gonna be touching base on that later. So yeah. Afterwards, you have is Chris Bay and Sami Callihan. So Chris Bay was talking to Sami, saying like he wanted to team up with him, show like he has the finesse for it. So Sami Callihan is thinking about it, and he actually convinced his plan to Chris Bay. So they kind of like talk it through. So it looks like they're probably going to be in like a working relationship together, or who knows, or maybe like part of a stable, as I touched base on it on last week's episode of Impact Wrestling. While Chris Bay and EY did tag team, and then out comes Shamrock. So it's kind of like a new forming of a faction. Who knows? And so afterwards, you have is the match between Eddie Edwards versus Chris Bay. And so I'm glad Impact Wrestling did actually mention Chris Bay's competing for the Super J Cup. So I'm glad with Impact Wrestling they're actually heavily promoting New Japan Pro Wrestling. And also for the fact that Don Callis was at AEW's Full Gear when they dubbed him as the Executive VP for Impact Wrestling, which it was pretty awesome moment. So I'm glad they did kind of like promoting other companies too. So I wish it would continue on more, but hey, they did promote it. TJP did mention New Japan Pro Wrestling on last week's episode, and now this. So I know we're going to get a lot of like New Japan promotion within the upcoming weeks, you guys, leading up to the Super J Cup. But anyway, match was pretty awesome, especially a lot of counter back and forth going on. And then you have is Eddie Edwards with the Boss Knee Party to pick up the victory, so not much to say, but it was a dope match. And afterwards, Chris Bay got the chair as Sami Callihan did appear in the ring with the baseball bat after like the lights was flickering and all that. So he was about to attack him until, of course, Rich Swann came out to make a save, but no, Ken Shamrock did, and it's kind of like a whole war too, like all of it. And then the Rascal came out and make the save as well. So pretty much you could tell that like Chris Bay did walk off with Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. So it looks like I said we may be seeing a faction in Impact Wrestling within Chris Bay, Sami Callihan, Ken Shamrock, and Eric Young. Even though Eric Young did not appear on this latest episode of Impact Wrestling, but yeah. Anyway, you have is a backstage segment with Tenille, Dashwood, and Caleb with K as they walk past by Jordan Grace, but then they have an idea. So Tenille, with the help of Caleb with the K, asked her if she wanted to be a tag team partner for the upcoming Knockouts Tag Team Tournament, which they have even announced the bracketology or the teams as well on social media as of late. So I just want to let y'all know. So Jordan says she needs a partner. At Turning Point, you have to earn my trust. So it's official. They are teaming together at Turning Point up against Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary, which I'm going to get into the prediction right after this recap. And then afterwards, you have it's a backstage segment with the Rascals as like they were complimenting each other's outfit, and then Rich Swann came by and they say a huge thank you, even though they were really depressed that like next week is going to be their final appearance on Impact Wrestling since they're being evicted. Rich Swann has an idea for their finals match, a tag team match. Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz versus Rich Swann and Trey Miguel. That's right. And all I can say is I'm super looking forward to it. And I'm going to say this. For those of you who attended West Coast Pro Wrestling last December, remember the opening of the match? Trey Miguel and Rich Swann, even though you have Chris Bay in the mix, their match, and especially Trey and Rich Swann's face-off, was spectacular. And I'm actually excited for their farewell match. However, I do get the sense that we may be seeing a heel turn. At the end. Who knows? But I wanted to touch base on that. So yes, it's been reported that they're done with Impact Wrestling legitimately for good. And I know there has a rumor has said they're actually going to be heading on to WWE. I know that some people did saw Kimberly, which Kimberly is actually married to Zachary Wentz. She said moving out sucks. Let me go ahead and look on my phone because I actually saw her tweet and I actually screenshot it. Let me see. My phone is kind of so load and slow. Let's see. Yeah, she wrote moving sucks a lot on Twitter. But yeah, I'm just showing you guys like her tweet, even though I have a screenshot, but oh well. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, but yeah, so it's a lot of like what's going to happen, is it true, is it not true, but whenever they're going, I'm very looking forward to them. I'm going to be touching base on it on next week's episode of Into the Stratusphere when I talk about like their final match and overall, especially more details too. Anyway, guys, so moving on here, and then you have Gia Miller interviewing Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly as Deonna Purrazzo was talking about her match against Su Yung at Turning Point in a no DQ match for the Knockouts title. And so once the camera did focusing more on Deonna Purrazzo's promo, they zoomed out and Deonna was looking at Kimberly, and all of a sudden Kimberly disappeared. And so Deonna was like walking, searching for her until she saw a mirror, and lo and behold, Kimberly has been pushed off through the mirror, and it says in a bloody red marking, I think you're alone now. I think you're alone now. That is like a name of the song, I think you're alone now. Da-da-da, by this 80s pop star named Tiffany, For those of you who grew up in the 80s, yes, she is known for performing the concert at a shopping mall. So I'm just giving you guys a little history. For those of you who loves 80s music or you have parents, I would suggest check it out on YouTube. Tiffany, I think you're alone. So this is kind of like an inspiration for like what the message Su Yung did put to Deonna Purrazzo, but yeah. Anyway, next up you have is a gimmick match between Reno Scum versus Falaba and Crazy Steve. Not too much to say. At least Falaba took his shirt off just to prove that he does not have the wad of cash. But yeah, so at the end, Reno Scum did the OK Killer and pinned Falaba to pick up the victory, which is actually Lester Legend did pin Falaba. So yeah, not much to say. Moving on next, which is the backstage segment with Chris Sabian, which he actually ran into, of course, the cowboy, James Storm, as he promised to buy a beer, which he actually asked him, like, if he wanted to be a tag team partner up against Triple XL, and James Storm said, the devil is asleep, and he accepts it. So, the devil is asleep, meaning, his old, I think his old, stable called the Revolution or I don't know. It's been a while, y'all. Especially that stable, which is just James Storm, TJP as Manic. You have is Mahit Shiba, aka Koya. What's his name? I think that's his name. I don't know. And, of course, Sonata, which is his pre-New Japan Pro Wrestling days. Just want to let y'all know. But, yeah. So I'm excited that, like, James Storm did accept it, and he's going to be teaming up with Chris Sabian against Triple XL at Turning Point. And I feel that James Storm is officially now back with Impact Wrestling since he made his return at Bound for Glory during the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. So it definitely makes more sense for James Storm that he could drop the NWA World Tag Team and then just be now with Impact. I think this is going to be really awesome, especially what's going to be in store for James Storm, but we'll see. And then you have the backstage segment with Willie Mack as he is checked in by the doctor. And once he got checked in and out comes Moose, attacked him. So, not much to say, but it's just like a simple build-up for Turning Point. Alrighty, and then your main event match, which is Carl Anderson with Luke Gallows versus Josh Alexander with Ethan Page. And Carl Anderson come out to his own thing. What the hell? I'm not feeling that. I'd rather have him coming out to the Good Brothers theme. The Devil's Play something. And I should have opened my my sparkling water. Like, I don't know. I digress. But anyway, match was pretty typical. Like, rivalry going on with the North and the Good Brothers. Like, a lot of back and forth action. Throwing some distraction. And at the end, you have Ethan Page got in the ring, got involved, and start attacking Carl. And that's where the ref actually stopped the match, ended in a no contest. And so pretty much the North and the Good Brothers still continue on to, like, brutally attacking one another. And that's it for Impact Wrestling. So it was another flat episode. I mean, there's not memorable moments to say, except, the whole Deonna Purrazzo, Sue Young situation. And then, of course, the sad announcement of the Rascal, which is definitely going to be hard to, especially a lot of speculation going on regarding the future with Trey, Desmond, and Zach. So for my thumbs up, thumbs down, I'm going to give it a 1 thumbs up. This match was this show was a bit flat, but there is some newsworthy. At least it's like slightly better than the episode 2 weeks ago. The whole Rosemary Johnny Bravo situation. So the wedding, that I'm not a fan of this episode, but I think I think it's a good thing that they slowly mentioned Turning Point, like only on Impact Plus. If it's like a major pay-per-view, I don't know how the pay-per-view buy rate's going to be, too, like, if they continue on. But I know that they're trying their best to get everybody just to tune in for Turning Point on Impact Plus. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go with the quick prediction. I'm not going to go talk into too much detail. So I've been thinking about it long and hard. And yes, I am actually going to be watching Turning Point. And I'm probably going to be seeing, like, this whole Impact Plus deal, because I know they have, like, some independent wrestling companies in there that I'm definitely going to be checking out, too. And, like, some of the old matches from Impact Wrestling. So I'm definitely going to be subscribing to Impact Plus and watch Turning Point. So the recap for Turning Point will be together on the upcoming episode of Into the Stratosphere, along with the recap of Impact Wrestling, New Japan Strong, and so on, y'all. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the prediction for Turning Point, which is going to be taking place Saturday, November 14th. So, you have is the X Division Championship match, Rohit Raju versus To Be Determined. So, I'm guessing I'm going to go see Suicide. So, Rohit Raju versus Suicide. And for my pick, honestly, I would like to see Suicide being the new X Division champion. I mean, we haven't seen him in a while, though. Even though we were kind of like speculating who is Suicide now. Like, people are talking if it's Caleb with a K or Jonathan Gresham. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going with Suicide as my surprising opponent and my role pick. Or whoever will be the one that will beat Rohit Raju. But yeah. And then you have is Triple XL versus the team of Chris Sabian and James Storm. I'm actually going to go with Chris Sabian and James Storm on this. Probably to close off the feud. But I think it's going to be a continuing of the whole, like, feud going on. And then you have Eddie Edwards versus Sean Daivari, which is out of nowhere. I'm going with Eddie Edwards, right? Not too much, but yeah. And then you have Tenille Dashwood and Jordan Grace versus Taya, Valkyrie, and Rosemary. I feel that there's going to be some distraction going on, especially with Kayla with the K. Of course, so I'm going with Tenille and Jordan. Yes, I am going against Taya, even though she's one of my favorite wrestlers, and I'm supporting her brand. And if you guys saw my social media, yes, I did bought that expensive tracksuit. Excuse me. It's so hard to pronounce when you're tongue twisting. Yeah, tracksuit, which is so comfy and warm. But I'm going with like logical reason for this whole storyline together. But yeah. And then Moose versus Willie Mack. I'm gonna go with Willie Mack to beat Moose on this. And then you have his Brian Myers versus Swoggle, which I bet it's gonna be the ending of the feud. I'm going with Brian Myers just because. And then the North versus the Good Brothers for the Impact World Tag Team Championship match. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna, cut to chase. I'm gonna go with the Good Brothers being the new Impact World Tag Team Champion. I mean, the North, without the respect, I mean, they're the greatest tag team in Impact Wrestling, but I feel it's time for them to drop the title. It's not gonna hurt them. I mean, come on now. So with the Good Brothers, I think that'll be good, especially just to promote, more of their like Talking Shop podcast and other promotion. Maybe New Japan, but I digress. But yeah, I'm going with the Good Brothers being a new champion. And then Su Yung versus Deonna Purrazzo for a no DQ match for the Impact Knockouts title. I'm going with Su Yung to retain the title. And then main event, Rich Swann versus Sami Callihan for the Impact World Championship match. I'm going with Rich Swann to retain the title. So with that being said, that is it for the episode of Into the Stratusphere. So if you want to send me feedbacks, comments, or whichever, or give a follow, y'all, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and on my YouTube channel at simply_C_OK. That's SIMPLY_C_OK. Also, make sure to follow the Bulletcast on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also subscribe to this channel. And real quick, make sure to check out the latest podcast interview where Philip did interview the guy who actually who is the Michael Jackson impersonation, which you guys saw like the viral video of the Moonwalk DDT, y'all. That's right. Highly suggest checking out. It's a dope interview. And also make sure to follow the Bulletcast on podcasting platform. Google, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and other podcasting platform at the Bulletcast. So with that being said, just please remember to wash your hands 20 to 30 seconds, practice social distancing, wear your face mask and face covering at all time. No excuses because the number is going jacked up high, y'all. This is dead ass serious. No excuses. Please protect yourself, alright? And as always, please remember to please be kind to one another. We're all in this together. Till then, I'll see you in the next episode of Into the Stratusphere. Cheers, y'all.